guys, ¿qué pasa? What's up? Antonio Serrano here, and today I have a brand new video for you. I'm not going to talk about this case right here, which is the case that I normally use for my kids show, family show, cabaret show, more or less sometimes. I'm going to talk about the case that I bring when I'm performing close up, right? The history about the case, how I organize the case, how I decide what goes in, what doesn't go in my close-up show, right? I have to tell you, I think that I've talked about this in previous videos. I am not a close-up worker, not because I don't want to, but basically because I think that in Spain, and specifically where I live, close-up, like booking a magician, hiring a magician to do close-up magic, is not that typical. It's not normal. When for a wedding, something like that, or a first Holy Communion, which is in my point of view the biggest market for magicians here in Spain, I would love to talk in a video about this case, all of the different shows, and I would love to talk in another video about the differences in different markets, like in England, in America, and here in Spain, because the events, like the events where you typically see a magician, are completely different in England, Spain, or America, which is the places that I know the most about how magicians move around. So I am not a close-up worker. I started performing straight up from the very beginning, performing like cabaret pieces, family show, kids shows, like in a stage environment, something like that, right? So I developed my close-up act from my stage act, from my family show act, right? So I did what most magicians do, but the other way around. Most magicians started performing close-up magic, and then they take all those tricks that they perform close-up and they apply them to their stage show. In my case, I did it the other way around. I took the things that I was doing in my family show, in my cabaret show, and I start performing these tricks close-up. The main reason why I developed this close-up act and all that stuff is because the biggest market here in Spain for magicians are in first Holy Communions, right? One of the main events, if you are a Christian, is when your kid takes the first Holy Communion, something like that, right? So it's quite difficult to find an event of this sort where a magician is not booked, right? So some days I have like 4 different first Holy Communions back to back. In the same Saturday or Sunday, I do 4 of them. 3 of those are big shows, like family shows, but the first one is a close-up show that I do during the appetizers, reception during the cocktail, right? When people are standing up, I do some close-up work. And this basically was originated by a friend that wanted to book me, and I already was booked for the whole day, like at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock, the 3 shows that I always did during the afternoon and the evening. And my friend told me, why don't you come before the main lunch, like the main event? Why don't you come before and you perform some close-up magic? He knew me, and he knows me to this day, and he loved close-up magic, and he thought, why don't you come here? And I was like, oh, this is great, I'm going to do one more show. I don't have to bring like the PA system and the big boxes. I just have to go with a little case, and it was great. And that was the moment when I realized that the same effort that I have put on my stage show, I also have to put it in my close-up routines, because I arrived there with a lot of tricks inside the case, but I was like, no, I'm going to do a card trick. Let's do the coin. No, I'm going to do a card trick. And I always did the things that I always performed for my family and friends with cards. So at that point, I decided I need to work on close-up material, because I have a lot of tricks that are for close-up, but I never learned them properly. I never rehearsed them. I don't have a script for them. Why? Because I didn't need to, right? I didn't have to know the tricks because I was working stage 100% of the time. So, what is my close-up set nowadays? I'm going to show you the case. This is like a vintage case, and this is the case that I normally use instead of this one for my cabaret show. If I am doing a cabaret show with kind of a vintage theme or something like that, this case works much better. And also depending of the outfit that I'm wearing. If I am wearing like a colorful jacket and jeans, something like that, or colorful trousers, which is the look that I normally like to go with, I perform with this case that has more like a modern type of look. If I am performing in a suit with a vest most of the times and even a tie, I am not that keen with that type of look, but sometimes in certain venues and for certain tricks and acts that I have, it works better. So this is the case that I normally use when I go with that style, right? But for the most part, this is my close-up case. This case, I found it in the trash. Yeah, I am those kind of people that when they see like a big box or something like that near a bin or something like that, I go there like, and I know the places in my town and in the towns that are nearby that I know, oh, I know that here people throw away things that are completely new or almost new. So I look around and I was like, oh my God, and the craziest part is that I was looking for a vintage case. So when I saw this, I was completely mesmerized. It was like, this is completely impossible. So I found this, and inside I have everything completely organized, okay? I have like a piece of foam, right? The lid, I know that there is a lot of room here in the lid and I have nothing, like pockets or things like that. This case has that organizer in the lid, but I have nothing here. I would love, this is one of the projects that I would like to go and do, like pockets here and all that stuff, but I don't have that, right? I would love to do it. But with everything that I got here, I have plenty of material. I had like a big block of foam and I cut the little pockets and creases and all that stuff to make space for all of the routines that you can see right here, okay? As you know, I am quite frugal with my tricks. I don't like having things that I am not going to use. So this is specifically designed in case I choose a new trick, like I would love to put this in my close-up act. If one thing goes in, another thing has to move out. For example, I discovered like a couple of months ago, all screwed up. And I learned this from a videotape from Doc Eason, right? A great trick, all screwed up. So I have here all the nuts and the bolts and all the stuff. And when I decided to put this in the show, I had to remove one thing that was previously here in this corner. What I removed was Pot of Jam from James Brown. Another great trick, but I have to confess, I am not a coin guy. I am not a coin guy, and every time I did Pot of Jam, it was like people had like a feeling like I know what you did, but I am not a good coin worker because I haven't put the time and the effort in. There is no other reason, right? So I changed them. If one thing goes in, the other thing has to move out. It's as simple as that. I am quite strict with that. I don't like having things that I don't use. And the same thing, if I have a trick right here and during the whole year, I would say that during the year I have maybe 5 or 6 close-up gigs, not a lot, but if a whole year goes through and I don't perform a trick that is in here, that trick has to move out because it means that I'm not comfortable performing it, or it means that the rest of the tricks that I have are better. So I am quite strict about that. I don't like having material just for the sake of having it. I only want to have things that I am using. I like to have my mind like quite organized. Like I have this trick, I know exactly how they work, and that's another very good rule of thumb. If you open up a case and you see a trick and you are like, I don't remember how this trick worked, you have to throw it away. That's not a very good trick. If you forgot how the trick worked, that means that, yeah, it's not very good for you, right? Or you didn't find the correct presentation, all that stuff. But yeah, that's how I do it. I don't like having things around that I am not using. So, what's the funny part about this? The block of foam that is inside this case, also for free. I found an incredibly big block of foam, one more time, in the trash. In this case, what was inside of a big cardboard box next to a foam store, a store that sells pillows and mattresses and things like that, and I love foam. I have a lot of pieces of little, big, different colors of foam, and I always keep it there. And basically this whole setup was for free. The piece of foam, which is not glue in any way. The piece of foam is stuck inside the case just by pure pressure, like inside. So if I want to use this case for my cabaret show, which I already told you I do a lot of times, I can take out the piece of foam with all of the tricks inside, and I use this as a completely open case, right? And once I finish the cabaret show, everything goes out and the foam goes in. Okay, with this side, I've got here a couple of envelopes with the word no, quite an original gag, am I right? And inside of here, I have a couple of pieces of paper. One of these envelopes has a piece of paper that says keys, like a set of keys, and the other piece of paper has a paper that says glasses, obviously in Spanish, right? And I use this for a patio force routine that I learned in Mark James' Penguin lecture, the first lecture. Mark James, I know that he has like 2 lectures for Penguin Magic. This was in number 1. And I love this routine. And you are going to see that I have a lot of different outcomes for the same trick. I have this trick, the patio force, but I have 2 envelopes with 2 different outs. And this is basically if I have to repeat the same trick again, but I don't want the outcome to be the same, I have an out. And I love this. In another trick, I'm going to talk about this with a very interesting story. And also with these 2 envelopes, I have this little envelope, this black envelope, that has inside 3 pieces of yarn, green, and blue in the middle, tied up. And this is basically for a great routine that I learned in a World Greatest Magic DVD, like a series, and it was a thumb tip DVD. The thumb tip DVD from World Greatest Magic. I don't remember the name of the magician, sorry. And this is basically like a miniature size 20th century silks. So I have here a matchbox that has inside 3 pieces of yarn, exactly the same, green, and blue, and they are completely separate. And I can use these 3 pieces of yarn with the matchbox that also has another purpose in the method, and the envelope with the other 3 pieces, and this thumb tip to do an incredible effect. And I love this effect because it is like a stage effect, like 20th century silks, but for close-up. So I have all screwed up, I already told you, great routine. And it is basically like a coin routine, like 2 in the hand, 2 in the pocket, 1 in the hand, something like that, but with nuts and bolts. So it is quite funny. And even kids get a great reaction from this. And one more time, extremely original, right? I've got here a stack of business cards, right? Just for marketing. And it's also great to sign a business card and make the signed card travel to my wallet. My wallet of choice is the Mollica wallet, right? I'm using the Team TONIO hip style Mollica wallet, which is great because it has the smaller wallet has a zipper. I know that some models they don't have the zipper, so it's quite magical, the zipper there. And inside the wallet I have more tricks. Inside the wallet I have like a 0 euro bill, which is extremely funny. I have some jokes for that. I have a couple of mismade bills, right? And I made like these Monopoly bills, but for the Turn and Restore mismade bills. And basically I am using then Sean Farquhar's Torn to Pieces is the name, right? And the other trick that I've got right here is this bill that I fabricated myself, which is a bill that every time you fold it, it's like a homemade $1 or 1 euro bill, but when you fold it, it changes into a 5, you fold it, changes into a 10, you fold it, it changes into a 20, right? And with the thumb tip, one more use for this, and with the thumb tip and a 50 euro or a 100 euro bill, you can do a bill switch at the same time that you are folding it, and it is a killer effect, Like I have a euro bill that I created. Now it's a 5, now it's a 10, now it's a 20, now it's a real 50, and you can hand out the 50. It's great. And this is a trick from Gregory Wilson, and he uses real bills, like from different countries. For signing, like the Miss May bill, or signing the business cards to go to the wallet, or to sign a card, I have a very, very big marker, which is funny in itself, and a very, very small marker. And I use this to perform Peter Eggin Sharp P, or something like that. It is basically a change where the small marker becomes the big one, and it's quite funny. And the small one is in fact a real marker that was longer, and I basically cut it down and pressed down the lid on top of the cut piece of marker. So I didn't even have to buy, when this marker was completely out of ink, I made this, like a small marker out of it. So quite funny. I have here like a small wallet, and inside of here I have mark cards from Bob Cheats, 3-card Monty, great effect. And I have a bill, right, from Peru, I think it is, yes. And this bill has a window cut out, and this is for a very interesting bit of magic that you can even teach a kid how to perform it. Someone grabs this little window and the bill turns inside out. So you basically sell it as the person going through the hall. Like you are in this side and now you are in the other side, without letting the door go from your fingers. So it's quite good. And I also use this bill. You fold the bill just like this, and you can put it, this bill, with the spectator holding the bill like this, you can put it in a rubber band. So I have this tin with a little rubber bands, and I can perform Crazy Man Handcuff, the bill, the escalator trick with the bill, turn and restore rubber band. I love the, I'm not going to remember the name, I am very bad with names. The brothers, I don't remember the name of the brothers, I'm going to write it down right here. They have like a great rubber band routine in their at the table lecture, and it is great. It is great when a rubber band vanishes and appears on top of the guy's shoulder. It's a great routine. It's the other brothers, right? The other brothers, it's great. So this tin that I have the rubber bands around is a tin that says here, pills for diarrhea. I also talked about this trick when I talk about homemade magic. And inside of here, I've got a piece of cord with a paper clip and a playing card. And I use this to do Jay Sankey paper clip. Instead of just having the card with the paper clip, I love this because it is like much more theatrical. Like open the lid, don't look inside, hold both sides, turn it around, boom, and now it falls, right? And it is in perfect position because the spectator has both of their hands busy. It's the perfect excuse for me to take the card and do the switch. So it is great. Great bit. And this is a trick that I started performing it in my cabaret show for adults. I did card to wallet, to the Mollica wallet, which I also do in my close-up show. And then the same card, I did the Mercury fall, and it appeared here. So both tricks, I performed them first in the stage, and then they went to the close-up act. Okay. I have here like 4 decks. Cartoon, nothing that I have to say about this. Great trick from Darren Harlan. Invisible deck, the holy grail of magic. Great. I've got here a pack of cards that has duplicates. I have a case with all of the duplicates that I have from clubs. This one is from clubs and hearts. All of the duplicates that I have from hearts and for clubs. And if I want to do a trick where a card is signed or torn or anything like that, instead of using the new card that I have in the brand new pack that I always put inside the case, I take out one of the duplicates. And the card that gets signed and torn is the duplicate. So the new card is always new, right? So I am keeping my cards new for a long time, and I am giving a use for my duplicates. So I always force the duplicate, and then it gets signed, it gets torn, and all that stuff. I've got here an egg, and inside the egg there is a miniature size card that is folded up, and this is for Tommy Wonder's trick, right? The famous line, who laid the egg? Or did you lay the egg? It's great. I love performing this, like perform a trick for a kid in one side of the kids table when I'm performing close-up magic, and then with misdirection I leave the egg next to that kid, and then I go to the other side of the table and they choose a card. I try to find the card, I cannot find the card, and then I go, did you lay that egg? And all the kids go like, and they see the egg in the middle of the table, and they're like, hand me the egg, and all of the kids are passing down the egg, they are moving it, there is something inside. And then, like Tommy Wonder suggests, I start to crack the egg on a glass, put your hands like this, I act as it's very disgusting, and when the card appear and it's their card, great, it's like the best trick that you can do. And for us it's quite simple, but for them it's pure magic, okay? More things. I've got in here some envelopes that I fabricate myself. I made them myself with a piece of paper and some pieces of tape, and these envelopes, I put them inside my nest of wallets, right? If you would like to know how I made those envelopes to work inside the nest of wallets, you can comment below and I can make that information available to you. And inside the nest of wallets I have my string. So the way that I like to present this routine is show the nest of wallets completely closed inside of my pocket. I open the nest of wallets, I pull out the string, and I give the string to a spectator. And when I close the nets of wallets, I close the nets of wallets in the specific manner that it needs to be closed for it to work. So I put it inside of my pocket, and now I'm ready to go. I do my ring and string routine, and the ring appears inside of the 3 wallets and the envelope, that for the spectators is like a couple of pieces of paper wrapped all around with 4 pieces of duct tape, which is great. It's a wonderful routine. Okay, more things. A mousetrap that has a prediction, warning, special trap to catch 2 of hearts, obviously in Spanish. I have a bigger version that I started performing in stages, and then I made this smaller version for close-up. Once more, from the stage to the close-up show. This is Aldos Colombini's triple coincidence. These are 13 jumbo cards that are cut in half. And these are not poker cards, these are Spanish cards, right? So because I tell a story of this happened to me in a very small village here in Spain, and I show the cards and I tell him, could you please cut the cards? And he pulled out an axe and he cut the cards. And this is a great trick. This trick is like impossible to understand, right? I don't know if it's called triple coincidence. I think it is not. I don't remember exactly the name, but a great Aldo Colombini trick. Outstanding. Let's continue. I've got here some gag prediction cards. I have like a long card that goes together with a double face card, which is a gag that I learned from the Penguin lecture of Scott Alexander. And then I also have a 3.5. These 3 cards, the double facer, the 3.5, and the long card, they work together in a very funny routine that I also started performing on stage. When I perform this routine on stage, I force 4 cards. The 10 of hearts, the 10 of spades, the 8 of hearts, and the 7 of clubs, and also the Queen of hearts. And I use like a jumbo card that you use for like the Monty routine, that you turn them around and they can be a King of spades or a Queen of hearts. That's what I do on stages. For close-up, I get rid of the big card and I only use these 3. And also I've got here 4 jumbo cards, which are 3 aces and the Jack of hearts. I use this to perform my version of a Simon Lovell jumping jack trick. Quite funny and quite interesting trick that I also perform first on stage with bigger cards. And these jumbo cards are great to fit inside of an inside pocket for strolling or walk around magic. I've got this little purse, and inside I have a lot of bits and pieces. I have another miniature card if I wanted to change the card that is inside the egg, right? I have some paper clips in case I miss the paper clip inside the tin to do the J. Sankey paper clip. I have a piece of paper, exactly the same color that I use for my mismade bills, and this always lives inside of here, so I can perform a bill travel using the bill that they already signed and that is mismade, and the bill can vanish using, one more time, the thumb tip and appear here. I can show that there is a bill inside, and using the thumb tip I pull it out. So one more trick using the thumb tip. And inside this purse I also had 2 cards with indices stuck to them, like miniature cards, a 2 of clubs and an ace of diamonds. One more time, the same trick, but 2 different outcomes. And I use this for the classic effect, where they choose a card, which is a force card, they choose another card, the coin is on top of the card, and I'm like, would you be amazed if your card is under the coin? It is, because we flip the coin and the miniature card is in there, top change, and they select also the right card, right? Let me tell you a very interesting story. I performed this trick on television, right? In one of the TV shows that I did when I was 17. And something that I did that was quite devious was that in the rehearsal of the trick, I used one of the coins. And when we film the trick, I used the other coin. So all of the camera, the whole crew, cameraman, the presenter of the show who also was in the rehearsal, my mom, everyone was mesmerized because they were like, is he really switching the coin when he knows what the card is? It's great, and this is something that I love. Like, try to obtain the maximum magical impact, like trying to achieve the most magical outcome. I've got here a couple of insurance policies, right? This is a very big insurance policy with a 10 of hearts. I print this myself because I like to write down some original jokes that I have. And this one is a smaller one with the ace of hearts. And this is so inexpensive, like an A4 and an A3. This is so inexpensive that I always sign them and I give them as a souvenir for the person that I perform the trick. This is a trick that, one more time, I started doing on stage. And then I made this smaller version and I added here. The reason why I have the 2, I have these 2 because I have, one more time, 2 outs, ace of hearts, 10 of hearts, and one more time, if I am performing for a smaller group, I can pull this out. If I am performing for a big table, I can pull this one out. So I am covered 100% no matter what happens. And let's finish. I've got this little cooking cloth, right? I love the aesthetic of this. I love the innocence of this. Like, there is nothing wrong with this. No tricking here, which is true. It's completely normal, right? And I've got here my chop cup. Inside of the chop cup, I have my sponge rabbits. Papa, Mama, right? And the 5 babies, 5 little babies. Great trick, as Bob Cheats says, if you want to compete with another magical partner in a close-up environment, let them do whatever trick they want to do, and then you go and perform the sponge rabbits. You are going to win every single time. Inside of here, I always have a couple of squeakers, one that works and one that doesn't work, right? I love this gag. It's a gag that I learned from David McCreary lecture. And then I have my chop cup. This is a chop cup that I made with a tin foil ball. The only thing that is not in here are the loads, because I always use as loads what I have around. If I have a piece of garlic that I always have and a potato, that's what I prefer for my routine. But if I have an orange and a tangerine, I would perfectly use that, or a couple of tennis balls that are miniature size. I will also gladly use that, okay? So that's basically it. This is my complete, and as you can see, this piece of foam completely comes out, and I have the case more or less clean to do anything I want. So guys, this is everything I have. Could you please shut down? Shut up. Shut it. Thank you. So this is everything I have in my close-up case. I hope that you find this information useful. Please comment below if you have any kind of information that I missed, which is probably a lot. And guys, I see you in the near future.